There are few games that I can play, and almost a decade later say that that game is one of the most beautiful and special games I have ever played in my life. Kingdom 2 Crowns is that game for me. But first, I feel like we need to talk about Kingdom Classic. I did not find this game. This game found me. I was about 8 years old when I randomly checked the Steam news page, which I never do by the way, to see that this game was on one of those get free now and keep forever deals. Obviously, I got the game, and it just sat there in my Steam library, gathering dust, until one day, I finally decided to try it out. When you begin Kingdom, you're guided to a campfire with a few vagrants around it. Using the coins you were given at the start of the game, you're able to hire the vagrants as workers for you. You can then light the campfire in the center, causing a bow and hammer shop to appear. Here, you can purchase tools that get taken by the workers, giving them an actual occupation. With a builder, you are then able to build walls either side of the campfire, and the archer hunts wildlife, which generates more coins, allowing you to continue the process. If you go into the forest, you can find small camps that spawn vagrants every day, allowing you to slowly accumulate more workers and make more money. You can cut down trees, slowly removing the wilderness, allowing you to build and expand your kingdom. As you upgrade the campfire further, you begin unlocking more features, namely farmers, which travel to farms that you can build and harvest crops, generating even more money. Clearing the wilderness around a camp causes it to disappear, meaning you have more space to work with, but it becomes harder to hire new people. It's a delicate balance that can't really be avoided. As you travel out into the wilderness, you can stumble upon various points of interests. These statues allow you to pay money to temporarily buff your archers and the strength of your walls. This shrine can be upgraded and gives you access to stone, letting you further upgrade your kingdom. It's all fine and dandy until the sun goes down. When night falls, your kingdom gets attacked by these creatures that are referred to as the Greed. The Greed, as their name suggests, try to steal valuable items. Your archers and walls act as the main defense against the Greed. However, inevitably, you're going to be unprepared and a wall will be broken down. If Greed hits a worker, it'll first cause them to drop whatever tool they have, and if they hit them again, it'll cause them to drop their coin, turning them back into vagrants. The real danger happens when Greed reaches you. If a Greed hits you, it'll first cause you to drop a coin, but if you happen to run out of coins, you drop your crown. Everything slows down as your crown falls to the ground, and if the Greed take your crown, it's over. You reset back to nothing and start from scratch again. Kingdom is an extremely punishing game. As the days go on, the onslaught of Greed become more and more dangerous. It starts with a few extra Greed, and then new variants wearing these psycho masks with more HP start coming. Every 5 or 6 days, you will face a blood moon, in which Greed will be especially powerful. During later blood moons, you'll begin seeing much more dangerous variants of Greed. First, it's these massive Greed, which deal way more damage and have way more health, and also spawn additional Greed to help them. If they happen to hit you, you'll lose a lot more gold, and to be honest, if it does get to that point, it's pretty much already over. Finally, way later in the game, you encounter Flying Greed. These guys don't take the crown. Instead, they solely focus on coming down and stealing workers. It gets very overwhelming very quickly, and can get to the point where if a single Greed takes down a wall, it's basically game over. The main goal of Kingdom is to ensure that your kingdom is safe. Once you fully upgrade the campfire, you can then begin hiring knights. You're limited to 2 per side, and unlike normal workers, they hold multiple coins which act as their health. When they're hired, a small group of archers will become assigned to them as their platoon, and when you're ready, you can send your platoons off to attack the portals where the Greed come from. There are 2 portals on either side, and once all are destroyed, you win the game. However, once a portal is destroyed, the Greed launches a counterattack, and when all 4 portals are destroyed, the Greed launches one final ultimate attack, far harder than all other waves. You have to make sure you have everything in order, and you have to take the time to build up your kingdom as strong as it can be. But wait too long, and the waves become much more overwhelming at night. You have to make sure both sides of your kingdom are strong enough, and you always need to keep on top of your money and the vagrants you hire. It's a delicate balancing act that with one wrong move all comes crashing down. It took me actual years to finally finish Kingdom, and it's because of how devastating it can be to lose everything. But I always kept crawling back to give it another try, and I think that so much of that is thanks to this style of Kingdom. The pixel art here is unique to other games and is just beautiful. Everything is so carefully put together. The scenic background, the little gestures the workers do, the way everything changes when you enter the wilderness. The sound design is also very good. As you grow your kingdom, the hustle and bustle of the township begins to increase. The little sound effects that happen when you do everything are so satisfying and calming, and it's especially beautiful when you're walking in silence through the wilderness, listening to the sounds of nature, and then that soundtrack comes creeping in. I originally came for the gameplay of Kingdom, but ultimately what kept me coming back was the sheer beauty of it all. And after an ungodly amount of tries, I finally persevered and was able to beat the game. Kingdom isn't complicated, nor is it very deep. The controls are literally just left, right, and down. You're given a small amount of dialogue at the beginning of the game, and from there, you are left to figure out the rest for yourself. It doesn't do a whole lot, but what it does do, it does beautifully. Without its simplicity, it just wouldn't work properly. It has the sense of isolation. You're surrounded by workers, yes, but they never really feel like actual people. They're loyal to a T, always giving you gold and doing whatever you command them to do. It's a lonely game, but one that uses that isolation perfectly. The developers would then go on to make 2 more games in the Kingdom series, Kingdom New Lands and Kingdom 2 Crowns. New Lands did come out first, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna cover 2 Crowns. In my eyes, Kingdom 2 Crowns is the real sequel to Kingdom. New Lands did add a lot of the mechanics that appear in 2 Crowns, but 2 Crowns really just refined everything. Instead of 1 island, you now have 5, each gradually increasing in portals and each containing several new mechanics. Compared to Kingdom Classic's singular horse upgrade, 2 Crowns features a plethora of new mounts, each with their own gimmick or ability. Progression is now extended with iron, allowing you to upgrade things beyond stone. These hermits that you find on each island can upgrade specific buildings into entirely new structures, meaning your kingdoms can now have actual variety. The gameplay is no longer camping on 1 island until you clear it. You now have to travel to other islands which contain the unlocks for the new resources necessary to destroying portals, making the progression less linear and more interesting. They've added seasons which now shake up the usual gameplay. Farms normally make you a lot of money, but when winter hits, your crops wither away and you have to use more creative methods to make money. And of course, the way you go about fully clearing islands this time around is much more epic and satisfying. They've added all these new mechanics, and despite that, the game keeps its simplicity. Everything is easy to grasp and just works well. Some of you are probably yelling at the screen, wanting me to talk about the other mechanics, but you gotta understand that for those who haven't played this game before, I want you to play this game and experience all of these other new things yourself. However, I won't hesitate to go over how truly incredible this game looks. This time around, the camera is positioned way further back, allowing for the game to show you so much more. A big issue I had with New Lands was the lack of visual difference between the islands, but Kingdom 2 Crowns just completely fixes this. Every island now has a unique background with these massive set pieces that really define the feel of each island. Every visual element is now enhanced, the animals and people are more lively, points of interest look so much more interesting, especially the places where you find new mounts. Every little detail is now beautifully enhanced with all the effects. The parallax scrolling, the bloom, the weather effects like snow and rain, and the massive, ever-present river beautifully reflects everything back at you. Amos Roddy has returned and made an entire new soundtrack for this game, which is just as good as the original. In fact, there are multiple styles this game can be played in, with new environments, characters, and even new mechanics. What an incredible sequel this is. Take some notes, Nidhogg. But I haven't even talked about the main selling point of 2 Crowns: 2 players. Honestly, Two-player mode just works so perfectly with this game that you begin to think that this was always meant to be a two-player experience. You can assign each other a side to govern over, you can synergize your mounts, it just works. The best part is, you don't even have to be an ultimate gamer to get into this either. You don't even really have to be a gamer to play this, and with the new addition of multiple difficulties, this is just such a perfect game to play with anyone. I have so many fond memories playing this game with my friends and my girlfriend. I remember I had a friend at my house and we stayed up all night playing this game. The next day, before he woke up, I decided to go on and do a bit of solo playing and just completely screwed everything, losing the crown. So when he got up, I just kind of stared at him like, dude, I messed up. Kingdom 2 Crowns takes everything that made Kingdom Classic so good and really brings out its true potential. The amazing part is that it adds so much, but the original simplicity that really defines Kingdom is still there. It's a perfect sequel in almost every way, so I have absolutely no doubt in my mind to not call this game a true masterpiece. A lot of meaning can be taken out of Kingdom. It could be the value of hard work, the weight and challenges of being a ruler, the sense of isolation there is when you're at the top, or maybe it really is just a byproduct of Thomas Vandenberg's attempt at learning how to animate a horse. But I feel like what Kingdom tries to really solidify with its meaning is legacy. You travel through islands where people have left their mark long ago, and now it's time for you to leave yours. It's not easy, and chances are there's going to be a lot of setbacks along the way, but when it comes down to it, you can't take anything with you once you're gone, but you can sure as hell leave behind something beautiful. The ball's in your court, and you have as long as you need. You have workers, you have authority, and most importantly, you have the ability to create. So at the end of the day, you might as well create something beautiful.